everyone. This is so exciting. I get to be here with my OG friends, Elaine and Dayna, as part of YaySTEM, and then get to introduce my MagicSchool friends. So about 5 months ago, I took a job to work for MagicSchool, and we decided, we know we had an episode last year with MagicSchool, but things have changed, lots of updates, lots of cool things to look forward to, some very Indiana-specific things as well that I'm gonna ask Kurt to speak to in a minute. But I wanted to introduce my friends. So Jenny Long, basically the face of MagicSchool. I would say I'm here and Elaine's here and Dayna's here because Jenny found this new thing a couple years ago called MagicSchool. And we thought, oh my gosh, if Jenny Long is there, then we have to check this thing out. So she is with us, longtime educator. Kurt, who we met, like a year ago, he had just come on to MagicSchool a little bit more than a year ago. We saw him at a conference. Like, we got to learn from this guy. He's been in the ed tech world for a long time. He's definitely the technical guru. Megan couldn't make it today, but she's also another amazing member of our Indiana team, straight from education as well, the Dean of the School of Education at Trine University. And then I got to work with Dayna and Elaine at Plainfield for a really long time and then made the move over here to MagicSchool. And so now, guys, we just get to talk all things MagicSchool. What are the updates? Kurt, I'm going to pass it to you because I love this slide. And I think that you can kind of tell the story behind Adil and the educator who said, I need to talk to the man in charge around here, and kind of how our mission moment, you know, really what makes MagicSchool so special. And then Kurt, will you talk a little bit about what we're doing in Indiana?
Sure, happy to. Yeah, it's been, I think, a year when I first met Dayna and Karisa. It was the Indiana Connected Educators Conference at Franklin Schools. And I was like, who are these two? They were like totally like glammed out in their MagicSchool gear, their glitter. Actually, Jenny was at that event too. I already knew that she was a celebrity. I was like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. So that was a fun first meeting with Dayna and Karisa, and here we are a year later. I know I've been in ed tech for 24 years or so. Started Angel Learning way back in the day, Indianapolis-based company. Some people here more locally might know it. Got acquired by Blackboard. But in the space, like, you can tell there are some real ones. People that are just passionate. Their heart is obviously in the right place. And I wasn't too sure about this Adil guy at first. That's who's wearing kind of the beige sweatshirt that we're looking at right now, the beige sweater. And I thought, okay, a lot of founders at ed tech companies, any kind of company, you know, they have to have a little bit of confidence, maybe a lot of confidence to say, I'm just going to go start this thing and see what happens. So I was always kind of skeptical, like, who is this Adil guy? Who is he? Oh my goodness, he is one of the real ones here. So just quick story. First time I met him was in Denver. The company's based out of Denver, Colorado. And I'm like, oh, there's Adil. Great. Go over, talk to him. There's like 4 of us that are standing around a table. And he was telling some of the other new people at the company that were at that little tabletop about all like the amazing people that we have. And he's like, there's this one person, she's out of Indianapolis. We just hired her. She's amazing. She's just incredible. Well, he's talking about Karisa. And Karisa just happened to be walking by, and I was like, Adil's talking about you right now. You know, we're like part of the 200 or so people that work at MagicSchool. I mean, there's a lot of people there, but the fact that Adil, he connects with all the people in the team as a former educator, former principal, like he just has the heart of an educator, and it's very inspiring to work with him. I know Jenny was the first to really probably see how wonderful Adil was, but this is a great story. I won't do it justice, but basically we were at a conference, and maybe Jenny was there. You'd probably be better at telling the story, but this educator came up to our booth and said, where's your founder at? And everyone's like, uh-oh, what's going on here? Is this an unhappy customer? What's going on? And well, Adil's like, oh yeah, that's me. How can I help you? And she said basically what you see listed here. You know, she was a special education resource personnel at their district, and just overwhelmed with all the work that they had to do. One of their colleagues had just left before that, just because they were overwhelmed. And this lady went on to go to tell Adil that she just wanted to say thank you, because she was going to be one of the second people that was going to leave the district and what that would have meant for the students there. But the fact that Adil built something with the mindset, the heart of an educator, to really support staff, just meant the world to her. So that's kind of a little story there. There's lots of little moments like that we hear about when we're at different events. Like we'll be at the Indiana Connected Educators Conference in Bloomington tomorrow. We get the joy of hearing people come up and saying, I love MagicSchool. And then we just ask, why? Why do you like it? And they go into these stories. They're just so heartfelt, and it definitely feels good. After 24 years in ed tech, I've never been in a place where you just feel more connected to the mission. Yeah, want me to talk to this a little bit too, Karisa?
Yeah, go for
it. So believe it or not, MagicSchool has been around 2 years and 5 months. Not a long time at all. But in that time, I think that we've just seen that it's been the right fit for educators. So in that time, we've had now more than 6 million different educators globally that have used MagicSchool. And I've always kind of felt like the usability is a big piece of that. I also think if you've seen like any of Andrew Davies' videos, or Tracy from our learning team, or Amber Trout from our community team, like when you see their videos, they're all former educators. You can just tell, like, okay, they're the real ones, high integrity people that are just happy to share their examples and stories of how MagicSchool has helped them out and how it can help other people. So we're so lucky. I mean, we really are. It's a company full of people that are just very passionate and love helping schools out.
And I think they listen to teachers also. That's the beauty of it. They're coming from the mindset of a teacher, finding the tools that teachers need to support them. And then also, if a teacher has a suggestion, they listen. So I think the same. I think it's a great resource.
This might be a good opportunity. I know Jenny, what I first knew about MagicSchool was Jenny Long. Like, I saw her online doing all of her different sessions, webinars. She was all over the place. And that was always inspiring, because I'm like, I was at a competitor, if you will. But I see Jenny, I'm like, oh my goodness, she's a special person. She's a special human. Jenny, how many different teachers do we have that work, or former educators that work at MagicSchool?
Oh my gosh. I think this number changes all the time, but isn't it like around 70% of our team?
I've heard.
It's like, it's amazing. Like, and I think it really speaks volumes to like knowing what our partners need. I even was in a meeting the other day, and the lady from the district was like, Jenny knows, she's been in my seat, and we were having a discussion with someone else, and it's like, they feel so valued and heard when they know that you can relate to the things that they're going through. So I think it really speaks loud and clear that, we do have so many educators that, have been in their shoes before and have felt all the things that they're going through. I mean, it does seem to get harder and harder, I think, with education now, the more things that are put on their plate, which is, again, where MagicSchool steps in and can help. But y'all are definitely making me blush over here with all your sweet.
Well, I think it's amazing that we've had so many join, like corporations are joining Magic because it's a safe tool for our kids to use when schools are afraid of AI. They're nervous and they're scared to put AI out for their students. And, people are joining forces and saying Magic is not only for teachers, but it's a safe tool for our kids.
Yeah, and I tell you what, I really appreciate that Magic puts out there first and foremost that it requires a teacher to be successful. But it obviously, the voice behind it is teachers have put it together. And I think that as a teacher, if anyone asked me, Elaine, what do you need in your room? I would say, I need a teaching assistant for every single one of my kids. And I can introduce the info to him, but this kid needs help with language. And this kid needs help because he doesn't actually read very well. And this kid needs a great visual. And this kid just needs someone to quiz him. And this kid needs a kid to research. And now with Magic, I have a TA for every single kid in my class. And so I think what you guys have built is extraordinary, because you guys, I know, have been educators, but it's still the same story amongst teachers all the time, that the people that make policy and make products don't understand teachers at all, don't understand our needs. And I feel like this is one of those first products that I'm like, oh, you guys totally get it. I just needed to write me a letter, or I just needed to help me. I need someone to help me come up with an idea, or I need a way to help this kid where I don't have to rewrite everything and bring the language down. And so it's an incredible product. And, you know, I don't know any school that's not sampled it or tried it on with all the guardrails you guys built into it. At this point is crazy, because if you're in a high school, I don't know about middle school, but if you're in a high school, the kids are on chat anyway. So why wouldn't we build a framework where they have this place to go to help them learn, not just to fill in, you know, the blanks or whatever. So will you guys tell us a few new features this year?
Yes, I want people to jump in and give ideas. And I think this speaks to everyone's point about for teachers by teachers. So constantly listening to the needs changing in the classroom so that MagicSchool can evolve to meet those needs, because that's why it was built, right? And so when we look at 80 plus tools, it's because the people behind the scenes know exactly what a teacher's workflow looks like, and that one or two tools aren't going to cut it, but there's really a tool for every occasion that you could encounter. So a couple of my favorites, I would say I love dark mode. So being able to go in and toggle now between light mode and dark mode. You know, the copy and paste and upload from phone. I love the upload from phone. I have to tell a quick story. I have 3 high school kids and I have a first grader, and my sophomore was sitting next to me. I was getting some work done. She had pages of handwritten notes and flipping through. And I said, Emma, what are you doing? She said, well, I mean, I'm like studying. I'm just reading all these words. And I'm like, have you tried using MagicSchool, the upload from phone feature? She's like, what? So we got into one of the MagicSchool rooms, opened the custom like study tool. I said, take a picture of every page of your notes. Yeah. She took a picture. She scanned the upload from phone. She was just going to town, typing back and forth. I said, are you having fun? She said, this is so fun. I said, how is it quizzing you? She said, well, it's asking me a lot of open-ended questions and I have to think and type the answers. She said, but my test is multiple choice. And I said, tell it that.
Tell it.
We can do that. So then I thought, oh, as educators, let's model for kids how this can work, that you can, yes, you can actually give it guardrails for how you want it to behave. And so she said, oh my gosh, it is like really quizzing me. And it's the exact content that I was just staring at. So I think upload from phone is huge. I think about math problems and all those other things. Like, this isn't photo math. It's not going to solve it for them. It's going to help them think through the process. So that's one of my favorites. What about you guys?
Well, I shared with Karisa a while back that when the copy and paste from your phone happened, like, well, we're in a whole new world now, because my class, we do our note taking, our research in our journals as well. So we have a lot of handwritten notes. And so I actually dropped the handwritten notes in, and I sent a message to the kids we use Parent Square, showing them all I asked it to do is write me multiple choice questions. And so I have to model, just like you said, Karisa. So that one I think is mind-blowing awesome. The one that from the teacher side that I really like is that it sends me an email when it flags a kid for what they're searching for. And the reason I say that is, for instance, we just finished up our unit on forensics, and like every kid got flagged for looking up cause of death from rat poisoning. Okay. So I just ignore those. I don't go in and wade through, but in the middle of that, there was a kid that I got flagged that she was writing a personal essay for English, but I didn't know that, but it was about her mental health and her struggles. And because I got that email, I went and looked at it, and she and I had a conversation, and I just said, I don't want to be intrusive, but why were you writing this? She said, oh, I'm writing it for English. It's for my personal narrative. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I just want to make sure. But had you not sent me the email in the midst of all 99 of them that were rat poisoning people, I would have never known. So I really like that feature, especially if you have 150 kids like I do, it's kind of hard to track what's real and what's not. So that's one of my faves. What do you think, Dayna?
Okay, well, I haven't tried all of these brand new features, but I teach 6 and 7-year-olds, and we use Magic at least 2 or 3 times a week. I mean, we're using it to generate our own images at this point. We're using it to help us check for information by chatting with a chatbot over anything that we're wanting to learn about. And they get so excited because there are features in it where they don't have to sit and type everything. They can verbally ask questions, and then there's a response back from the chatbot that teaches them those things. And then they're still having to, it's like when we used to listen to CDs or tapes, when we had a book. It's like it's reading it back to them, and they're seeing the language. Mm-hmm. Some of the vocabulary is, a little bit tougher for a first grader, but it's reading it to them, and they're understanding what that word means based on the context. And it is encouraging them to grow in all of those areas, plus find information in a safe, fun environment. Yeah.
I love that.
I will say I did tinker a long time with the STEM graph functions and send some stuff for Karisa on that. That's something as a science teacher, really hard to create data sets. And so those are really good with really good questions that follow it up. And so I like that one as well. I haven't gotten into some like Dayna. I mean, we just don't have enough time, so we get kind of our favorites. But what do you guys each think? What are hot things out there?
I love, as a former math teacher and English teacher, but the math teacher in me loves our new advanced, kind of what you're saying, like the math and science graphs and charts. And in Raina, if you're a math teacher or a science teacher, you definitely need to try this out. So in Raina, you can ask like, give me an Algebra 1 lesson and include, graphs and charts, very generic. Or you can be, as specific as you want, include your standards. But if you change it from at the very bottom in the search bar area where you type, if you change your mode from fastest to smartest, it will actually give you some really cool graphs, and you can have it make parabolas and ordered pairs and all kinds of things. I haven't really tried the science just because as a math teacher, I always love and get all geeky with all the math stuff it produces. But when you change it from fastest to smartest, you're really going to see a difference in the outputs there. So definitely challenge those of you that are using Raina or use Raina, more to find things that you can't find in a tool maybe, or you're not, you want to go a little bit of a different route, go into Raina and try those different modes there at the bottom and see if you get some different results. So that's my takeaway. That has been a big ask from the beginning, was a lot of just more graphs and charts and shapes. And we do have the inline image generator that it will create an image to go with your lesson as well. But I really have found that to be really useful. Kurt, what about you?
Yeah, Megan's not here. Megan Tolan is our other counterpart here that helps schools throughout the Great Lakes area. And I know she always uses the phrase using AI to learn AI. I think that's a big component where, there's the prompt assistant that is in the tool. So if you're not really familiar with what prompt engineering is or have no idea what that even means, like you can be very effective at getting the AI tool to do what you want, because you can put in kind of your first draft, like here's my first shot at it. And then you can ask it to revise that for you. And you can say, oh yeah, that's great. But it doesn't stop there. It actually says, here's why this is maybe a better prompt. And here's the bullet points, 1, 2, 3. So it can inform you as the educator, like, okay, that's how it thinks. That's how I need to provide the appropriate information to it. Something that is coming out, I think, this Friday. I hope I can say this. Jenny, Karisa, don't tell a deal about it. We have something come out. It's just the thinking tokens. Imagine you are using MagicSchool. You ask it, you put it like in thinking mode or smartest mode, and you ask it to do something. It will actually show you how it's thinking through the logic of trying to answer that question for you or to get that information for you. So I think that's another component where you can really think, you can see how the AI is thinking, how it's structured. And so it gives you just a better sense of what it is, what the technology is all about. but how it gets to the answers that it will give you. So that's another thing that's coming out. I think, in fact, was that last week it was released? Chris or Jenny, do you know that? The thinking tokens in Raina?
I can't keep up. I feel like it was on last week's. I think it might be active now.
Yeah, I think it was just either coming or just this week. So yeah, that's definitely a new one. If you look and it's not there, just wait. It'll appear. I promise.
It will appear. It is coming for sure. I would say another one, collections. Check out collections where you can group tools together. You can group them, hey, maybe you are looking for student support. So all the tools that really help support your students, like text leveler, vocabulary list generator, text translator, grouping those together just so they're in one space. And that's easy to share then with your colleagues. You can grab a link and say, hey, Elaine, you're teaching biomedical sciences. Here's some tools that are going to do a great job in helping you, create some creative content. So I would say, yes, I love that. The student rooms, this is pretty new, being able to open, schedule when they're opening and schedule when they're closing. Mm-hmm. I know, teachers like to work ahead and get everything ready to go. And so if they could put a time on when a room opens, then they don't have to worry about sending the link too early or having it out there for students. Let's see. I do want to call attention the science of reading slides. And I'm sure that you're using a lot of these tools, Dayna, especially in the early literacy space. But just all of these link out then to a tool in MagicSchool that really helps support those 5 pillars of literacy. I know we have a lot of information coming down from science of reading, and it's a very big part of reading curriculums. And so it was just kind of a great slide to show how we really align. And like Dayna, you said you're using this 2 or 3 times a week. I'm sure when you look through this list, you're like, oh yeah, we're doing all of these things. I have a first grader at home. Last night, I was doing some work in MagicSchool. He said, will you please just make me one of those rooms? So I did, and I said, well, he goes, I know there's a joke generator on there. I want that. He said, tongue twisters. I want tongue twisters. And I thought, oh my gosh, what he's learning about the science of reading, it's sticking because all of the tools he's asking for align with the way that he's learning in class right now. So I thought, that's pretty awesome. And of course, I'm listening to him do the speech to text. I want to learn about axolotls. I want to learn about capybaras. All the things that are floating around in a 7-year-old's brain. And then at the end of the night, he said, thank you so much for setting that up for me, Mommy. And
they love it. And then like you're saying, as far as that collection piece, it's easy for me because when you set up a room, I can limit what they're seeing and put the tools in that I want them to have that are appropriate for them. And a lot of my teacher friends, we just got a new reading series. And so they're trying to figure out if like the text that they have to read at that grade level is grade level appropriate. And so they've been throwing the text into Magic and having Magic tell what grade level it is. And they're like, wait a minute, we didn't think it was 4th grade. This is like so difficult. And it's like really 8th grade level based on what they're saying. So they're using it more for their advanced, kiddos. And then also taking that text leveler saying, okay, we want to keep using this text that they've given us, but can you go ahead and make it at a 4th grade level? And then it translates it through Magic for them. And that way they can still use that text.
Love it. I'll give one example too. I mean, Chris has really inspired me. She always inspires me every day, like all the different things, ideas she comes up with. But I did start kind of putting that out there for my daughter, who's a junior in high school. Just, hey, if you need a room opened up, they don't have MagicSchool, but if you need a room, let me know. I can do that. And she took me up on it. Audrey is her name. And she took me up on that a couple weeks ago. And she was feeling really good about this one essay that she had to turn in. She's got big goals, aspirations. Like she wants to go to Kelley School of Business at IU in Bloomington, and she's got to get the grades for that. And so she was feeling really good about her first draft. And then she's like, well, spin up a room for me, put in a writing assignment, add this rubric from the teacher. And she was mortified because it wasn't as good as what she thought it was. And I had to remind her that's the AI grading it. That's not the final boss. That's your teacher. But it got her really thinking about it. She went back into it and did refine it. She improved it. So it's such a powerful tool. It can be used, and the students love it too. So
well, and I go to your point. It gives suggestions. It did not, completely rewrite it. It gave her suggestions how to make it have a little bit more meat, what adjectives, word description. It gives all of those, you know, add-ins for her, I'm sure, to just make it her personal best, and also help her think like, hey, maybe I might want to put this suggestion in, maybe I don't. It's still my work, you know. And also, we've said so for a long time, it's like, it's also a cheerleader. It's celebrating the things that you are doing right in your writing and saying, hey, here's some more suggestions, you know. So there's such great tools on there.
And it gives them that opportunity to get help at times when they can't get any, you know, when they're at home and they have a parent maybe that, you know, can't do that level of math, or they're home alone, or someone doesn't even speak English at home. And so you know, for me, my room is open 24/7, and you can look at the analytics and see when that they're up at all hours and they're using Magic. And for me, I leave my Magic room open with the tools I picked out. They use it for everything. Like, they're in there doing some English, and they're doing some history, and they're doing some science. And it's just a nice tool. And I will say this, as mine get older, they use it far more. I was telling Karisa right before we got on today, first day back from fall break, my first year biomed class, which is heavy in freshmen, we did a research day. They were researching different tests done in a doctor's office. And I have 90 students in that class, and their preference still, they just don't quite get it, is to Google. So I had 4 generations in there all day out of the 90 kids. In my second class, my HBS second year class, they did a project today, but they had to do a little bit of research. The difference in 1 year, 75 kids, 79 generations in Magic. Mm-hmm. And so it is such a better tool. And I keep telling them, don't just Google it, you know. And even like when they're using in their history, if you ask, you know, if you use Raina or the research and you ask them for citations, they'll tell you where it came from. It's just, I don't know, it's been one of the biggest blessings in my room is to have Magic. Now, what I need from Magic is I need you to create a tool that becomes Flip. I need Flip in Magic, because there is nothing still to replace that. Oh, I just miss it. I shouldn't talk bad about other labels, but I've used several. I don't love them, but once Magic can make me a Flip room, then
That's a good one.
And you won't have to use anything else.
I'll never get on anything again.
That would be.
I just love that it's so conversational. Like, I've seen, you know, you see kids like Google, and they have to go to all these links and everything, but just to be able to have a conversation with that content just makes it much more real, and they get their information more concise, you know. And I find that, you know, I go to AI for all of my questions versus just Googling anymore. Because it's just, I like being able to say, but if this and this happened, and what about this, you know, just have that conversation. So,
and it builds curiosity.
Yeah, I think
and now rather than skipping the words they don't know, they're like, well, what does that mean? And so
I love the analogies too. I mean, the fact that it can come up with those analogies within an educational setting. I did have my other daughter, my middle daughter, she was really struggling with her U.S. government class, and they were learning about Republicans versus Democrats and the difference between the different parties. And she just was not getting it. She's an artist. She's at Heron right now. Like, just wasn't her thing at all. And so I asked her, I said, well, let's go to Magic School. Who do you know of that, like, who's someone you really like? So, well, Taylor Swift, obviously. Well, who's someone that Taylor Swift doesn't get along with? She's like, oh, Jake Gyllenhaal, they have beef and like they never got along. Yeah. And so I said, well, just use that as an analogy. Go in and ask the Magic School to compare what Republicans and Democrats are using the analogy of Taylor Swift and Jake Gyllenhaal. And she just lit up. Like, it just made sense. It clicked in her mind. Just that context that it gave, that little gentle context, just opened up the world for her.
It's really cool.
That's awesome. We have to talk about real quick the webinars, Indiana specific, on the next slide. So we do have 2 webinars a week from today that you can join, learn with us during the day, learn with us at night. We would love to see you there.
Okay, I think we got to wrap this up, Dayna.
I know this has been so fun. I think we could have talked for hours
Yeah,
about
we could do a
the
season with
amazing
10
schools.
parts.
I mean, we enjoy being with you guys anyway, but just amazing tools. But we thank you so much for joining us and sharing your magic. And educators, Magic School has everything you need, really, in order to be successful in your classroom, for your students to be successful. So you're welcome to reach out to the YaySTEM crew, and we'll give you suggestions how we use it in our classroom. But also reach out to Jenny and Kurt. They can help you. Reach out to Karisa. That's what they're for. YaySTEM is going to be at HEC on November 5th. I think you can still sign up for that. We're presenting at noon there for a couple 2-hour session. And then another exciting, we are coming back next month with Yay for BAM. We're going to show how to smash it up with Book Creator, Adobe, and Magic. We're going to take it up the next level, which is our goal this year, is just leveling it up. We are in season 4, but go back and check out some of our previous seasons. Jenny was on last March, and you could go back and revisit that and get some points for that. Also, again, if you have feedback or want to reach out in any way, the QR code here and the QR code on the next slide will put you there. Thanks again for hanging out with us. We are YaySTEM.
YaySTEM.
Woo!